All right, good afternoon, VV Nation. Happy Monday. Now, we'll give everyone just a moment to make their way into the room. The alert will be hitting in just a moment here. Now, if you can see me, if you can hear me, just let me know with VV. There we go. Pennywise already put the VV in the comment section. Thank you, Pennywise. We do got Joey in the background today. He's running things behind the scenes. Now we're taking a look at the market here. Pretty lackluster, not very exciting. And I'm going to say I'm not surprised by that with the Fed meeting. We got Jackson Hole. Was that Wednesday? So wouldn't be surprised if the market was pretty range bound over the next day or two. Does that make sense for everyone that's in the room here? I know the alert should be just hitting, so we're just going to hang out for a few. Let everyone make their way into the room. Happy Monday, everybody. Woo! It was a good weekend. I hope everyone else had a good weekend. Me and the family went up to Virginia on the New River to go tubing. 14 of us. Could you imagine being tied on a tube with 14 of your family members for 5 hours? Yep, you know exactly how that went. No, it was a lot of fun, though. It was a lot of fun. All right, everybody. The alert just hit. I see it posted, so we'll give it just a second here. But again, the market's taking a little bit of a pause right now. I'm not too concerned about that. And honestly, think about it. Is it next week we got NVIDIA's earnings? I think a little pause would be good for the markets, especially leading up to NVIDIA's earnings. Hopefully, NVIDIA can rally, bringing the market higher, especially some of the top, tech stocks, I should say. John says, wow, tubing in VA. Cool. Show some pics of your vacation, Ryan. You know what? Maybe I should do that, John. I had a few pictures. My mom and my sister had a majority of them just because, we were on the river, and obviously, she had the little bag, the waterproof bag. Done the New River several times. It's great. I will say, if you do like adventure, they have something called the Gorge or the Upper Gauley. It's, the north end of the New River up by West Virginia, but it's got some of the best rapids. It's been quite a few years since I've been up there, but if you like water adventures, you like whitewater rafting, check out the Gauley. It's going to be the best one on the East Coast by far. And even the, our tour guides, they were from all around the world, and they said this is one of the best rivers, not just on the East Coast, but in the river, in the world. And one of the rapids was like a 25-foot waterfall, essentially. You go over. So it was pretty cool. Joe says, got stopped out of Palantir. Joe, did you get stopped out with a big profit, though? That's the question, right? Hey, the stop did exactly what it was supposed to do, right? Get you out of the position with volatility that you're not comfortable with, right? So, Joe, did you get out with a profit? That's the important part, right? You don't go broke taking profits. And it doesn't mean we can't get into Palantir later in the future, right? Hey. And honestly, probably not a bad idea because, it went parabolic after it broke out of that ascending channel. Starting to pull back a little bit now. John says, I did Colorado, Arkansas River, and up in Maine. All done doing that stuff. Fair enough. The Colorado River, I have not done. I did do a river in Colorado, but it wasn't the actual Colorado River. I think having done the new is a requirement for doing the Gauley, but yes. I don't know if it's a requirement, just because I remember the first time I was on the New River, we went straight to the Gauley. But if you're not comfortable, if you've never been, in class 3, 4, or 5 rapids, probably Arkansas River is in Colorado. And maybe it was the Arkansas River that I went on, John. I once experienced the beauty of the Hudson River. Did you go swimming, Pennywise? Did you find some good treasures in the Hudson? All right. Let's get to the stock market here. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. I know we've got Labor Day coming up, so I hope everyone's going to have some fun with the family. But again, the market's pulling back here, so let's go and take a look at some of the news that's moving the markets right now. All right, first up, we've got earnings. So before we get to the news, I want to go over earnings and the economic calendar. Today, we got Palo Alto after the bell. On top of that, we've got Fabrinet, FN, XP Inc. Let's go to top 25 just in case there's some other symbols here that you might be holding on. But I did put Palo Alto and Fabrinet in a watch list, so we're going to take a look at those two here. Nothing real crazy down this list here. Let's go to tomorrow. So if you're holding cybersecurity, Even though it's not Palo Alto, but if you're holding other cybersecurity stocks, they could move, with some sympathy when it comes to, how Palo Alto reacts to the earnings after the bell today. So just know, if you're holding pretty much a cybersecurity stock, that it could move quite a bit. We got Crowd and NVIDIA earnings next week. Nice. Expanding my KOI. Oh, Koi Pond this week. Need to make some money to pay for it. I know Koi Pond is not cheap, Bill. So hopefully you made some money in the market and you can upgrade your Koi. All right. As far as tomorrow, we have got Home Depot. Lowe's is also reporting later this week. So again, that's going to affect, housing. Let's see here. Nebius isn't confirmed, so I didn't put that in the watch list. I did put XPeng, so if you're holding EVs, they could have some sympathy. Let's see here. Let's see, Wednesday. I think Wednesday was, all right, yeah, so we got TJ Maxx, Lowe's, Walmart should be here somewhere. Maybe that's Thursday. Analog Devices, Target. Thursday must be Walmart. Yep, there it is. Walmart. We've got Alibaba. Well, that's not confirmed. Intuit, Workday, Ross Stores. So a lot of big companies. Not, there are a couple of tech names, but definitely retail, home improvement, things of that nature. So a lot of big earnings that can move the markets, right? I own Crowd and Cyber, which is being acquired by Palo Alto. Not sure if I'll keep the Palo Alto shares when it goes into effect or just sell now. Interesting. All right, but yeah, so pretty good size week for earnings. Nothing, it's been a little busier. Next week probably obviously be bigger. We got NVIDIA. That's clearly can move the market. Now, what's something that can move the market? We're going to switch gears a little bit, go over to let me move this or move myself. Look, I'm floating. Woo, floating. All right, over on the left here, let me zoom in. All right, we got some housing data here. We got Home Builder Confidence Index. Home builder stocks, I made a video on that not too long ago. So that data coming out could affect those stocks. Just keep an eye on that. We got Fed Vice Chair later this afternoon. Tomorrow, housing starts, building permits, another Fed Chair. So again, today, tomorrow, pretty much housing data. Wednesday, this is what everyone wants to know. Minutes of Federal Reserve's July FOMC meeting. Jackson Hole, right? That's exactly what everyone wants to hear. And the question of the hour is, are we going to get that interest rate cut in September, right? We'll see what happens. Thursday, we got initial jobless claims. And then Friday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaks from Jackson Hole. So, yeah, so they're meeting Wednesday. So it looks like they're going to give, whatever kind of announcement they are from that Friday. So that being said, the market might not have a whole lot of movement either way. So if you see signals triggered just because, it might be entering a channel. But I see the market being pretty range bound from now till Friday. Obviously, if some news breaks out, it could move the market, but I see it being pretty range bound. Walmart is one of UPS bigger clients, and UPS pulled its annual guidance. I work for UPS at their largest West Coast air hub, and volume is declining significantly. Interesting. Okay, Pennywise. The West Coast air hub, for Walmart, I'm surprised at Walmart. Interesting. I guess even just consumers are strapped right now, right? I'm not surprised by that. All right, so this is what I thought was interesting. Talking about an AI bubble, right? And it didn't just come from anybody. It came from Sam Altman. You can see the article right above me here. Sees AI bubble forming as industry spending surges, right? OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has reportedly said that he believes AI could be in a bubble, comparing market conditions to those of the dot-com boom in the 1990s. We are in a phase where investors as a whole are overexcited about AI. My opinion is yes. AI is the most important thing to happen in a very long time. My opinion is also yes. He quoted as saying, Ray Dalio. Okay, look, so not just him, but look, we got Ray Dalio, Apollo Global Management Chief Economist, Torsten Slok have all raised similar warnings, right? So just I'm not gonna say that AI is, if you're holding an AI stock, it's gonna crash, but you're having very prominent people, and the guy who's behind the most important AI, ChatGPT, is saying, hey, it's in a bubble, right? So just be careful. Again, if you're in some of these, very overly stretched valued stocks, BBAI, CoreWeave, these type of stocks, right? Don't let the trades become emotional, right? Because I don't want you having to hold on to it and wait 10 years for the stock to come back, right? Because I don't know if you ever noticed, but if you look at the chart of the NASDAQ after the dot-com bubble, when it hit its high then, it took, I think it was about 10 years to come back, right? So again, I don't want you holding no bags. So make sure you got some stops or some kind of exit strategy in place if the stock is not going your way, or if you're up in a bunch of profits, protect those profits, right? Especially, August and September, not the best high momentum months, right? We all know the MTI, the market timing signals. It's not a bad idea, at least protect some profits, right? But again, I'm not saying that, AI stocks are going to crash, but if you got one of the most prominent figures, Sam Altman, saying that there's an AI bubble, well, that could, spook the markets a little bit, right? Pennywise, yes, made a good profit on my Palantir stop. That's all that matters. Yes, Joe, that's all that matters. Make that money. Make that money. Because again, we got no crystal ball. What can happen, right? And if you bought Palantir at $20, rode it all the way up to 200, and then it goes all the way back down, you're going to be mad at yourself. So again, I think it's still above its long-term trend line. So if you want to give it the max wiggle room, that would be kind of my max wiggle room, would be that long-term trend line. We'll take a look at the chart here. I've got it in a watch list. We'll take a look. Yeah, the picture that's taking shape is an ugly one. Yeah, I don't like to respond too early or too soon. But again, I'm still, and I've been saying that, I'm still in the camp of, I'm more concerned about taking profits of existing positions, especially if your whole point was just swing trading from the tariff bottom. Rather than just, trying to find new stocks to squeeze, the last few percentage points out, coming, August to September, right? All right, let's see here. John says CRML, MP are way over their stop price, yet people think they will go to Mars. Yeah, MP, I mean, just like we're seeing with AI hype, right? There's, news-driven stocks, right? Rare earths, China, right? That's causing a lot of these stocks. USAR is a great candidate of that. Really overvalued, right? Can we look at NVIDIA? Roy, we definitely look at NVIDIA. They've got earnings next week, so we're definitely going to take a look at NVIDIA. But this is stock here, First Solar. I'm sure you guys have seen First Solar taking off here. What's going on? Well, I was reading a couple different articles. Essentially, AI, the data centers, the hyperscalers, have been, I guess you could say, lobbying or trying to get influence when it comes to, the big beautiful bill and tax write-offs for energy, right? Well, they want to incorporate alternative energy along with every other kind of energy in this, right? So let's see here. Where is it? Is attractive, including First Solar is a buy due to its strong U.S. manufacturing base, national security benefits, and limited reliance on Chinese inputs. That's good. But apparently, where is it at here? It is the largest producer of solar panels, producing 50% more panels than the next biggest American company, right? Who tax write-offs, plural. MP dropped and stopped out, but did make money. Good, Marvin, good. But again, First Solar, not even just this, but alternative energy stocks are also seen now as AI energy plays, right? And this being one of this, right? I know when Trump came into office, the big scare with a lot of these companies was they're going to lose a lot of their, their tax incentives and things of that nature. And a lot of that did go away, but a lot of that's trying to come back because of this energy is needed for AI, right? And we know Trump has been, gung-ho on American first when it comes to AI technology. So we are, essentially just waiting for some of these political shifts back into U.S.-based alternative energy companies, right? You see, look at this. Though political uncertainty and China's dominance remain risks, some domestic policies may disfavor First Solar as well. Solar's energy role in grid resilience and manufacturing revival supports FSLR's long-term prospects, making a moderate risk, high upside investment. So we're going to take a look at RV. I want to see what the upside potential is when it comes to First Solar, right? All right, now next one, talking about energy needs, Google. Teams up with Kairos Power Plant, advanced nuclear plant for Tennessee Valley Authority grid by 2030. So this is going to be a nuclear reactor. So again, if you're holding, uranium stocks, SMR, there's a lot of energy plays when it, especially nuclear energy plays when it comes to AI. This might give some enthusiasm to those types of stocks here. Again, there's no slowing down when it comes to these AI data centers. I know they just tried building one in Mooresville, about 15 minutes north of here. It's supposed to be like a $5 billion data center, but I think the town disproved it. So that one did get, I'm almost positive they disproved it, the one up in Mooresville. It's been all over the news here in Charlotte. Pennywise, natural gas is in an area that's doing quite well in the new energy crave taking place for data centers. Yes, I do like natural gas, but natural gas can be very, very volatile in nature. So, if you don't want the volatility of natural gas, there are some other energy aspects there. We're in VST and VRT too. I like VRT. I like Vertiv Holdings. Definitely well positioned when it comes to the hyperscaler spot. Spot is an IBD stock of the day. Oh, Spotify is? Nice. Interesting. Very interesting. And now I talked about this Friday, but we've got some follow through. I don't know if you guys saw UNH, but last time I looked this morning, it was up about 12% here. Again, all has to come after Q2 disclosures. Warren Buffett, the man, the myth out of what? Omaha, Nebraska. Loaded up on UNH stock. And here it is, right? Look, $1.57 billion UnitedHealth Group while trimming 20 million shares of Apple and Bank of America. Interesting play by Berkshire Hathaway. But just this alone right here has really caused some momentum. The stock was up like 20, 30% Friday, another 5% today. Buffett still owns Mari. Let me clear this out here. All right, and then the last stock here, or sorry, not stock, but news story. Not really deal with stock market, but just in case you're traveling, in case you're on the East Coast here, we got Hurricane Aaron forecast to create danger surf. I know before they were thinking it's going to be far enough off the coast, wasn't really going to cause us any issues here on the East Coast, but now that looks like might be shifting a little bit. I know it's a little bit further west than a lot of the models we're anticipating again. So again, this is just kind of a shout out. If you're traveling on the East Coast, be careful, especially going into think about this weekend. Just keep an eye on Hurricane Aaron as well. I'm just curious. Let's just go to oil price. I wonder if a hurricane is going to put any pressure on. No, oil's up a little bit today. Sometimes when oil's in the Atlantic or gets close to the Gulf, it can put a little pressure on oil. We're not seeing a whole lot here. So even with still can't get too bullish on oil right now. All right, let's get out of here. So, and NEE will be affected by that hurricane. Really? Let's see here. SO stock. Oh, duh, Southern Company. Yes, I was wondering what you're talking about. Okay, that makes sense. Made good money on open this morning. I thought the charts looked good. How big of a pullback before getting back in? Also, Reddit seems to be on a nice rise. A little pullback today. What is a good entry point? John, there's a good question. Let's take a look at some stocks here. Let's get rid of this. All right, we're in the software here. I've got some watch lists for you today. Where is that? Midday market update. There we go. I did not even put the stocks in here from the news. Go figure. Go figure. Oh, add Google. And I think First Solar. All right. Let's take a look at these two stocks here. Oh, wait. That's right. We're going to do BBAI. Let's do NBIS, Nibius. And these two stocks are the ones that I just put in there because, Sam Altman was talking about the bubble when it comes to AI stocks here. I mean, if you look at some of these stocks, look at Nibius here. Currently trading 71. We value the stock at $13, right? This is not a price target. It's just saying that investors are paying a premium when this position, right? Same thing with Big Bear AI. So, yeah, am I going to say it's going to be a full-blown pullback in AI? No, but it's definitely something to at least take caution of, right? That's all I'm going to say there. As far as Google and First Solar, I like Google. I mean, look, we're currently trading at 203. We value the company 271. Growth rate earnings 18%. I will say Google, their biggest caveats really from the antitrust thing. I know they're about to lose the Google Chrome web browser. So we'll see what happens. But the momentum is there to the upside. The RT at 1.43. First Solar, look, we value at 273, currently trading at 217. So honestly, and the RV's at 1.42. So that article, not really telling a lie here. You are getting a good deal on it. And it does have great long-term price appreciation potential. Let's take a look at the stock chart here and see if the trade makes sense. I mean, look, value on the rise, price action on the rise. If we go to let's go a 5-year chart here, you can see the stock had hit a high over $300. But yeah, I do like this turnaround here. Price action above the 20-day EMA and above the 40-day. Growth rate earnings at 20%. Sales growth rate at 9% here. I do like that. Big full body candlestick today. RT relative timing hit a series of newer highs. EPS on the rise. The CI is not going to be great, Bill. Just like AMD, it's not going to be great because it is failing to hit a new high, right? So until this gets higher than this, that CI is not going to be that great, right? But as soon as price action, if it does surpasses this previous high, that CI will start raising pretty quickly because it just looks at the stock's ability to resist lengthy or severe price declines, right? What is this right here? This looks pretty lengthy. Looks pretty severe, right? So yeah, so just be careful of that. Hoping Wolf will do what Neg has done this year, helping my account sale from the last few years bag holders. Full disclosure, I am still holding my short position on Neg at 117. And I haven't looked at it in a while here. Let's probably look at Neg. Since we're talking about Neg, let's look at Neg. 102. All right, so yeah. I'm still in the green on it. Let's go to 3 months here. This is what I'm really looking at here. What might make me close the trade. We're getting a break on this line. We're getting another break today. If it starts to run up, I'll probably close out of that short with a little bit of a profit here. But I've got time on my side. I mean, the stock is just, it's had a huge run, right? And I'm shorting a short squeeze, so that is dangerous in nature. But my short is at 117. How can Roku go higher since they are already in every TV? Roku is not in my TV. All right, let me take a look at Wolf here as well. Now, if you want confirmation of Neg, I'd take out the high of yesterday. But really, just this trend line here. That's what I'm concerned about is this trend line. I want to see a break in this trend line because right now I'm bearish, right? Now, if you're thinking about getting bullish or if you own Neg, you want this body to stay above this trend line here, right? Just kind of like where we caught it Friday, right? You see the sell-off, and then the body came right up to this trend line. So keep that in mind. And yeah, if I fix this arrow here, I want to touch this. Yeah, it's right on that. And we're touching it again today. So again, we'll see. Looks like I'm about 10% profit on that short, but just be careful with Neg. This line, I think that's an intraday line, so we can get rid of that. But this is my end of day data line. This is what I'm looking at. And I'm seeing buying pressure on this. So again, if it starts to run up, I'm going to close out of that trade. Me personally, I'd like to see a break again because I'm bearish and retest this 20-day, and that might be a good potential for a nice pivot off of that. But we're not there yet. We'll see. All right, let's take a look at Wolf. Here's Wolf. I don't like that upper wick. You see that upper wick? No. Especially if there's a body forming on the downside. We don't know yet, but if there is a body forming on the downside, not liking that at all. Growth rate earnings, -6. Sales growth rate, 34% here. Pretty range bound, but just after the breakout of the last few trading sessions here, looks like we're seeing a little bit of weakness here. The high, retracing from it, currently trading at $9.88 or $9.99. We value it 39 cents. So again, maybe use Star Search. Actually, we could take a look at Star Search here. Yeah, we're hugging this line here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we try to pull back a little bit, maybe fill this gap here. We'll see. Hard to be, bullish on this right now. Be careful if you are in Wolf. I'm just looking at the 1 day. You can see the support here. We're coming right in around that, around 990. So just be careful if it breaks down much below this, okay? All right, let's get out of here. Is that an abandoned baby on Wolf? What? Yeah. All right, now I've got some stock picks here. Oh, before we get to that, let's go over to earnings. These are some of the stocks reporting this week here. All right, we got 6 found. We've got Fabernet here, TJ Maxx, Palo Alto, Lowe's, Home Depot, XPEV. Momentum, again, not a lot of momentum in either direction here. As far as value, no value, actually, any of these stocks are all overvalued here. Look at that Lowe's. Look at this, trading at 251. We valued at 175. Home Depot trading at 396. We only valued at 246. Look at the relative values here. Only 2 of them have long-term favorable price appreciation potential. Fabernet 1.29, and then TJ Maxx slightly in favorable territory, right above that oscillation point of 1. Now, as far as safety here, pretty good safety stock, especially here up. The only one in unfavorable territory is going to be XPEV. If we look at recommendations here, mixed bag between buy and hold recommendations, RTs. Only these 2 stocks are trending lower, Palo Alto and XPEV. Looking at earnings growth rate here, we've got 29% for XPEV, 14% earnings growth rate for Palo Alto. Bill says, are you a ghost? Parts of your shirt keep flickering on and off. That's because I'm so bright. I'm so lively today, Bill. I'm channeling my inner Todd with my Hawaiian shirt, right? With my Hawaiian shirt. All right, let's take a look at these stocks here. See if there's anything for concerning when it comes to the forecasted data going into earnings here. As far as Fabernet, not really. Growth rate, sales growth rate, everything looks on the rise here. Nice pivot off this 20-day EMA. I like Fabernet. Might be a good buying opportunity here. TJ Maxx, lower left, upper right, a little bit of a whipsaw in the middle, but value's also climbing here. The stock's undervalued right now. Looking at growth rate, it is faltering. Sales growth rate 5%, rising forecasted earnings per share coming from 440 now to 474. Not bad, nothing too concerning there. Here's Palo Alto. The only thing that's concerning here, look at the growth rate and earnings slowing down quite a bit, 14%. The stock greatly overvalued. We only value the company at $89. Earnings per share on the rise. That does concern me here as well. Look at RT relative timing. The technicals just are not in the favor of the bulls. We do have a gap to fill here, and this is my level of support. You can see some rejection here on this 20-day EMA. Again, they report after the bell today, but I really like to see price action just stay above this level of support. Even if it drops a little bit, hey, is what it is. I just need to see it stay above this level of support here, and if it breaks much below 160, definitely would be getting more bearish on Palo Alto. But that growth rate and earnings slowing down, that's not what I'm liking here. Here's Lowe's. Lowe's starting to trend higher here. Nice little uptrend. If we take a look, probably see a little consolidation here. Looks like we just tried to break that. Looks like price action trying to find a level of support here above this consolidation prior. I do like that. Growth rate earnings went from negative to well, no, it's that flat. 0 sales growth rate, -2. I can't get behind this. Lowe's is overvalued and the forecasted data is not spectacular at all. So I'm not even going to pretend like I like it. Here's Home Depot. 2 and 9%. Looks better. We've got rising earnings per share here as well. Look at price action starting to turn around. Nice little comeback story. We did have a slither of a buy rating before the pullback. As long as price action can stay above that 20-day EMA, we'll be optimistic. As long as RT relative timing stays in favorable territory, I'll be optimistic. Here is XPeng. This is an EV maker, Chinese EV maker. Look at the growth rate. Earnings went from 15%, shot all the way up, almost doubled. Now at 29%. Sales growth rate, 139. Big jump here. Earnings per share, They are operating at a loss with the forecasted EPS, but look, that loss narrowing quite a bit here. If we take a look 12 months ago, about a year ago, EPS was negative 16 cents, and now is negative 6 cents. We're getting closer and closer to the road of profitability. If tomorrow is up, we can get a confirmed up situation. Bill, I'm almost positive that is the case. I'd have to look at the confirmed call. Today, I think it's not this week movement, but the previous week is what's messing it up. I'm almost positive there's not a... someone let me know, because I don't have the confirmed call signal up right now just because we're on live stream. But I'm almost positive we didn't get that update today. We were higher than we were yesterday, but the last week's data, is week over week data. That's what is preventing it from today, if I remember correctly here. AMSC fell asleep during the base. Dang. Did it break out to the downside on that base? All right, let's get rid of this one here. That's earnings. Oh, okay. So one I did want to look at is S&P undervalued. These are the most undervalued stocks in the S&P 500. So if you're looking for some fish, we've got Micron, WDC, Progressive here, Deckers Outdoor, Super Micro, EQT, Pfizer, Lululemon. Why does this keep going back? Monolithic and CNC, Centene Corp here. Only 2 buy-rated stocks in the batch here. So these are the most undervalued stocks in the S&P 500 here. You can see the valuations. Looking at Progressive, we currently trading 246. We value 402. Deckers 105 compared to 163. So again, if you're looking for value plays, not saying go out and buy them today. I like Micron too, penny-wise. Of this list, that's probably my favorite pick would be Micron. Of this list. That's just my personal opinion here. Even though it's not showing the most momentum today, it does have a buy rating right now. It's just in a hot space, well-positioned company, undervalued. So again, if you're looking for value in the, not NASDAQ, the S&P 500, take a look at this. Forget the fish. Calm grew egg sales, 72%. There is gold in them eggs. What do you mean by calm grew egg sales, John? I'm just curious here. Let's take a look at the charts here with any of these positions. Oh, Calm, the app. Is that what you're talking about? Here's Micron. This is the pivot I would look for here. 20-day EMA, my level of support that's been here for a while. Broke above it, retested this high, coming back down. I like this pullback here. I like this shaping up very nicely. Calm has a nice 7.5% dividend. Okay, yeah, that's a high dividend yield. Rising earnings per share, growth rate 38%, sales growth rate 37%. I mean, look, value just keeps rising. Price action is rising. We're just looking to take out this prior swing high. But I like this. I like this Micron trade setup. This is coming to fruition. Again, if you're comfortable with it, might be worth it. Maybe wait for the market to really, pick a direction before jumping in on that one. Here's Western Digital Corp. I mean, that's as smooth as it gets. Lower left, upper right. Actually, let me put me on this side here. Ooh, I'm floating around. All right, lower left, upper right. Growth rate, 39% on the earnings side. The sales side, 30%. Look at sales growth rate. A little bit of a turnaround story. Went negative. Now went positive to 30%. And look at the big jump in earnings per share. Earnings per share was trending down for quite some time. We just got a big pop in it. So I do like this. I mean, this is a steady Eddie. Lower left, upper right. It's doing what we want it to do. And it's closer to this 20-day EMA. So if you are going to accumulate some shares of it, not necessarily the worst time to do so. It's not overextended from that 20-day EMA. Here's Progressive. I'm not going to lie, I don't like this. Value's declining. The stock chart's declining, and I got a personal grudge against Progressive right now. That's my insurance company. I'm on, the Snap thing, and apparently I was in someone else's car with their kid driving, and they slammed on the brakes, and they flagged me for getting into a car accident. So I've realized the reason why my insurance is higher than it was 6 months ago is because of other people's driving. I don't know. But other than that, look at the stock chart. It doesn't look good. I'm going to go poopy on it. Look, growth rate, earnings declining. Earnings per share. The only thing rising here is earnings per share. The stock was a great hit. I talked about it a lot last fall. You can see it had its run. but now it's taking a breather, right? So I'm not going to say Progressive. If you're looking for Progressive on a good deal, if you got some patience here, it might pull back a little bit more. I think this would be a nice level of support. If we get any more of a pullback. Decker's Outdoor. Here's another one. Look at the sell-off, but look at valuation also declining here. I like it at $105. It was $220 not too long ago. Growth rate in earnings, 19%. Sales growth rate, 17%. Earnings per share ticking up. I like this. Just ask yourself if that's a comfortable dip that you're on, that you're with. Maybe throw in a 200-day moving average, 40-day moving average, see where you can get some, resistance potentially going forward. But my only concern here, the value is declining. Maybe if value started rising a little bit, I'd be a little bit more optimistic on this position. But definitely put it on a watch list. Looks pretty good. Here we've got Micron. Look, it's just in this channel that we've talked about before, between 47 and 44. I'd look for a breakout either way before, making too many decisions. But the value is declining. When you thought you were getting a good deal with value on the rise here, but now you're still getting a good deal, but not as good of a deal. Growth rate and earnings completely rolling over here, dropping all the way to 23%. Sales growth rate, 8%. Earnings per share, pretty stagnant right now. So I can't get too excited on SMCI. Again, if you're a trader, I'd look for the breakout on the zone in either way. First Solar takes off again today. Yes, Alex, I just did a story about that. They've got legislation. I guess there's a lot of lobbying when it comes to AI energy needs, and First Solar, might benefit from some of that. But here's equity. This is utility gas company. Look at valuation. Was overvalued, but now valuation just on an uproar. Growth rate and earnings turnaround story. Sales growth rate rising 106% here. Rising earnings per share. And this is a utility company. It actually looks pretty attractive even as a utility company. Just look at the dividends. See if the dividends make sense. But if this pays a good dividend, you should put this on your... I'm not really talking about one person, but you guys in general should probably put this on your radar because that looks pretty good. And it's a utility company, right? So... again, maybe in defensive measures, defensive times, if you're just looking for. Pennywise says, worth a spot on my watch list. I think so too. It just depends if you're a dividend trader, right? And again, just look at the dividend. If we take a look, I can add it real quick. Let's do dividend yield. Not much. We got a yield here at 1.25%. But check with your broker. All right, here's Pfizer. Nope. Value, again, stocks declining, unless Warren Buffett jumps in here, just kind of like UNH, I think you're taking on a lot of risk, right? It could pay off. But look at this. Rejection 20-day, rejection 20-day, rejection 20-day, rejection, big gap down. We're coming back up on that 20-day. And we're not far from it. 20 days at 140, we're now at 136. Maybe get a couple closes above it, take a nibble or two, right? But jumping all in this stock, it's got problems here. Value's been declining for almost a year now. Growth rate and earnings has been declining. So it's hard to get too excited about this position here. Here's Lululemon, same scenario. Value on the decline, price action on the decline. Again, 205, not a bad thing. If you are going to get in this, if it gets above this 20-day EMA, this could have some short-term momentum upwards to about 243. So if you are looking to do some bottom fishing, Lululemon, this might actually be a decent bottom fishing. But I'd put my target around 243 on this. Is maybe a quick swing trade. Obviously, if you want to think longer-term investor, hey, just play it accordingly, right? Because the forecasted data, nothing to get too excited about. 8-7% respectively. Earnings per share, I do like it ticking up. But yeah, again, I do like this trade setup in the making here. Not quite the confirmation I'm seeing. We're close to it. 20-day EMA is 204. Maybe get a close above it. But again, it's hard to play momentum plays right before the Jackson Hole thing. But 243, I think that's a good target for it. I think it's all right. Here's Molina Healthcare. Look at this. Coming back to that 20-day EMA. We're about to find out if we're going to get some rejection or not. But again, another stock where you think you might be getting a great deal, and you are, But that deal is getting worse and worse, right? We did value at 450. Now it's around 300, right? So again, just like some of these other stocks are pulling back with their valuations declining, instead of looking at price action, one thing I like to do is I want to see value take out a prior swing high, right? I want to see the trend in our value start to turn around, right? Ryan, do you own any forever stocks? Stocks you're holding for the long term? No, not really. I've got a couple index funds for my 401k, but mostly I'm just trading myself, Fox, to be completely honest. But then again, it's my job too, so I have the advantage of being at a computer and trading every day, right? If I did something else for a living, I probably would be holding, wouldn't be trading as much, right? And forever stocks aren't a bad idea. But at some point you got to cut your losses, even in forever stocks. And a stock doesn't just keep going up for forever and forever and forever, right? I know Glenn even talked about that. I'm buying only undervalued penny stocks with high volume and good PE. Hey, Lulu, now if you go into Unisearch, you can find some good fish going that route. I'm telling you right now, I've done it before. I think I've done a video or two looking at undervalued penny stocks with good earnings. It's been a while. Maybe I should do a penny stock video again. I have a mix of forever stocks and trading stocks. Okay. If I was going to do forever stocks, either A, they might have some type of dividend capability, or B, I would at least try to get 100 shares so I could sell calls against it, right? So if I'm planning on holding this stock for the next 5 years, and if I'm not going to sell calls against it for the next 5 years, that's a lot of money, or whatever, income strategy you want to use with options on it. It's a lot of money missed, right? So again, if you're not familiar, if you don't know options, you want to learn options, check out our website, VectorVest.com. We do have an education tab there. We've got courses, or if you just want to dip your toes and learn, if you're brand new to options, just go to YouTube, type in VectorVest options. Free videos there, right? Free resources to kind of get the wheels a turning when it comes to learning options. Yep, most of my forever stocks pay dividends / distributions. Yes, Pennywise, I definitely would say, yeah, if you are going to get into like you said, forever stocks and just ignore their trend line and just go up and down with them over the next few years, whatever it may be, at least have some kind of income strategy based off of it. That's just my personal opinion. If you can do a dividend and an option on the stock, it's even better, right? And the only thing you're doing is just lowering your dollar cost averaging going forward, right? Or if the stocks get pulled away from you, hey, you just buy back in if you'd like, right? But again, just things to think about. But this is another one where I want to see valuation take out the prior high at 309, right? I see price action starting to turn around. Hey, that's cool. I like it. Could be a rejection here. This 20-day EMA. I've seen it a lot on this chart. But for me to really get excited, not just this stock, but some of these other ones here, some of these other undervalued, pressured stocks in the S&P 500, I want to see valuation start to hit a new high, right? Take out the prior high. That way I can see something, because something's not good. Something's wrong with the stock if the value just keeps going down and down and down, right? So at some point, I want that value to start, find its bottom, start turning back up, right? All right, here we've got CNC again. Look, another one. Value, price action on the decline. So no, I'm not going to say jump in these right now. This is healthcare. Again, healthcare has been troubled lately, so definitely be careful. You can see, I have a feeling the stock's going to move in sympathy with UNH. We're kind of seeing that recently. So again, just be careful if you are thinking about these stocks, right? A lot of value here, but there's also a lot of momentum to the downside. So make sure you manage that correctly. Make sure you're trading the chart and not just trading your heart, right? Make sure the trade makes sense before pulling the trigger. All right, and then the other stock list. Oh, wow, okay. I'm going to get to your stock picks, so don't worry. But some other fish to have on your radar here. These are new buy-rated stocks. Everyone's always like, well, these stocks have had buy ratings. I want to wait, blah, 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 blah. These are new buy-rated stocks here, right? I went into Unisearch if you ever want to find them. I think I did this last week, and a lot of you enjoyed this. That's why I wanted to do it again this week, just in case you missed it last week. Go to Trends New Stuff. I went to new buy-rated stocks. So it's just saying the stock, not a buy yesterday. Today it's a buy, right? Today is a buy. We got value and price rising. I did run this one because I like the idea. Me, I like our valuation, and You know, I like to see value and price rise. That's my favorite chart pattern. But when I ran it earlier, there's only one stock. I think it was an ETF, like S&P ETF looked like. Oh, no, a different one here. All right, let's see what this fish looks like. I'm going to give you all some fishies. Yeah, this might need to be closed soon, that short. But either way. Or Unisearch, right click, view stock graph. Let's see if we got a fishy here. Anyone heard of this stock first? TR Healthcare. So it's an ETF, healthcare. So it looks like this ETF is probably benefiting from some of this bottom fishing that we're seeing. Like Centene Corp was just jumping up. UNH jumping up, right? So if you want to play, maybe look at the holdings of this. That's probably what I would do, is look at the holdings. See if those holdings are, UNH, other healthcare companies. If you don't want all of your eggs in one basket, hey, check this out. This might be a play on that, right? If you had 1,000 invested in 1981 HD, the stock would be worth $11 million per Louis Navellier, who worked on Wall Street. Do you believe that? He wrote it in his book. I have no idea. I don't know what the stock was trading at then. But if you went from $1,000 to $11 million, that's a huge percent. And there are stocks that have gotten those type of gains, right? I think even if you look at Bitcoin, like 10 years ago, I think if you put like $1 in, it would be worth a whole lot of money, right? It'd be worth millions of dollars. So yeah, I'd have to do my research, Shepard. I don't want to give you any misinformation. It is not out of the realm of possibility, especially from 1981 till now. That's not. Nvidia sure did before the split. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, here's a healthcare company. That might be interesting play. But let's go back to these. Let's graph them. All right, SNGX, big upper wick here. Not liking that. Big upper wick here too. Could be a potential short candidate for a day trade. Growth rate, sales growth rate, negative 100. Earnings per share, negative. Nope, not liking these upper wicks. I'd be more of a shorter than a buyer. Here's Laser. If Laser can finish this little pivot here, right off this line, I want to take out the high of yesterday. What's the high today? 26.92, 26.99. Yeah, I want to take out that high. Let's see 27 and some change, and that might be a continued momentum to the upside. I mean, the stock was $5 not long ago, semiconductor company. Now it's at 26, right? If you bought this stock at $5 or $6, just protect some profits. I mean, you're up 500% here, right? Again, I'm not saying you got to sell all the whole position. You can sell a little bit, right? And play with more house money, right? That's what I like to do when I'm up quite a bit. I like to risk house money, not my own money. Here's Mux. Never heard of this one. Undervalued, though. I'm seeing rejection at this 20-day EMA. Not the greatest sales growth rate. I don't like that. That's a gold mining company. And honestly, there's a lot of great ones. This one's not the one. I do like Wheaton, precious metals. Showing weakness today. This is a gold and silver play as well, but they have exposure to other items as well. Values on the rise, price actions on the rise. Price is pulling back though. And if I'm looking for some good support, this is a strong support line here on 86. If price action drops below 86, then I would be getting a little more concerned, right? Laser does LiDAR sensors. Oh, interesting. Great robot taxi play. That's what it does. Okay. Which one was that? Laser? Okay. Are they working with like Waymo or Amazon or Tesla? Do you know, Pennywise? Do you know what kind of big partnerships they might have? Or Uber even potentially? Mux. But yeah, that's beautiful. Lower left, upper right. I'm seeing the weakness here, the 20-day EMA. If I'm looking for, that's my main level support. But another one might be like right here. We might actually find a level support soon. This might not be a bad trade, to be honest. I want to see a bottom wick, or some kind of little pivot or something. But this is actually not a bad level of support here, around 92.50. We're right in there right now at 90.68. Robot vacuum cleaners, too. Waymo, I think. Alce is another LiDAR stock. Okay, so they got partnership with Waymo. Interesting. Waymo does LiDAR sensors, but Tesla does camera only. One thing I will say with Wheaton here, look at the RT. Just be careful. It's 1.06. Might be coming unfavorable soon. We had a nice run with this RT in favorable territory. and it's kept us in the trade this whole time. So again, if this stock does not get its act together relatively soon, we could see that RT drop below 1, and I would definitely be getting bearish. I mean, again, this stock was 60 at its low. It's up, what, 50%, so just be careful. Here's Flex. Look at the pop and the valuation of Flex. I do like that undervalued. Let's just get back above the 20-day EMA. Growth rate earnings, 7%. Sales growth rate, 4%. Rising earnings. Not a bad stock, undervalued. Here is Dayforce. Big gap up. I don't like that big gap up. 27%, 10. Nothing too crazy there, but definitely overextended. We got a big gap up. A lot of profit taking. So you're talking about someone was just talking about penny stocks here. Look at this. This is an undervalued penny stock. $1.29. We value the stock $1.61. Even though the sales, the sales growth rate, a little bit of a turnaround story. Went from negative to positive 12%. Growth rate earnings come at 17%. Earnings per share also went from negative to positive. This is a stock I would be interested in. Am I interested today with this big sell-off? No. Let me get some more candlesticks, but this one you may not want to sleep on. We got about a year here. Let's go back out some more. So yeah, it's, oh no, there it goes. So it was much higher. I had a feeling it was. 1 year. I'm not sure if this popped on news, but if I had to guess, I wonder if it was earnings. Did it have earnings today? No, not earnings. It doesn't appear to be earnings. So it's some kind of news. Look at the news story, but I do like that undervalued aspect. So here's another one. Look, JBS, food, meat products. I don't think I've ever seen someone mention this one. But look, value ticking up, coming close to $22. We're at 15 essentially. Growth rate 18%. Sales growth rate is declining, 0%. So just be careful. Earnings per share ticking back up. I like that. Depends on whether one feels lawsuits are a factor for having shoddy FST. So here's Camtech. It's actually lower than it was 12 months ago. Forecasted data both declining over the last 12 months. Can't get too excited behind that. Here's iHeartMedia. Look at that big upper wick. Trading at session lows. Trading lower than the open right now. Looks like that momentum might be waning here. Maybe for a retest on that 20-day EMA around $2. All right, 12:52. Hit that like button. How many likes we got here? You got 20 seconds? Hit the like button, and depending how many. Let's see. All right, let me click on the like button over here. All right, I see the likes are coming in. So it looks like we're going to have 5 stocks today. First 5 stocks coming across the comment section as of right now. The first 5 that are going to be taken into consideration or looked at. I'm going to put it in NVIDIA myself. Don't you fret. I'm putting NVIDIA myself. That'll be my honorable mention. We got CRS, UAMY, RTX, DSX, and SoFi. Kashi, you put Katos in a tad too early, but because I'm nice, I'll put in Katos, but that's it. All right, here's NVIDIA. They're all up today, so that's positive here. As far as value, TSX, that's going to be the value play here. The rest of them are overvalued. Look at UAMY, $449 now. This thing just keeps ticking up. I like it. It's definitely going to be stretched. Valuation we're getting a value on it. Not right now. I'll add Palantir myself as well. So I see that's pulling back. Safest stock on the list? NVIDIA. Not surprised. What's got the highest growth rate in earnings? UAMY. There we go. I'm not surprised by that. Palantir here. Oh, Palantir. You guys are so dramatic. Palantir is down today. $3. I want to be. There's nothing too crazy. I wonder if it's still above the channel. Yeah, look at this. This is the perfect momentum setup. If you're in UAMY, you got to ask yourself if you're a trader or you're an investor. I see potential with both. And it clearly is showing me. Look at that. Lower left, upper right. I like this stock. I really do. I cannot lie. This is a great position here. It's got a great story. Look at the sales growth rate. 187%. 48%. And growth rate and earnings, I did notice that. Look at that. Value is dropping here. Yeah, I thought it was above $3. It used to be $3.32, and now it's coming in at $2.48. So we could see the stock just being stretched from a valuation. That's what I'm saying. At this point, I'm seeing more of momentum trade. I even said this on this channel, this was the opportunity, retesting this long-term trend line here. And we broke above this, retest, another opportunity. But yeah, the value dropping here, so just be careful on that. Again, that looks like the Chinese thing was pushed out a little bit, so just be careful. SoFi ticking back up today. You can't be mad at SoFi. Still above the 20-day EMA. I like it. Ever since we noticed it was in this little ascending channel here, broke above this trend line. It's just been off to the races ever since. The stock is overvalued, so I will throw that in there. We only value the stock at what? $9.88, currently trading at $23. I'm treated like a momentum play. Forecasted data is phenomenal. 36% earnings growth rate. It's one of the top in the database. Earnings per share, forecasted data on the rise. I like that. Great stock in general. I mean, buy holding is intact. So as long as that buy holding is intact and I don't even see a hold there, I'm not going to worry too much about it, right? Here's NVIDIA. It's just taking a breather. Yeah, that's all. Just taking a little breather. You can see the trend line. It's gotten resistance on this line several times here. Looks like we're coming back to that 20-day EMA. But again, earnings is next week. And typically NVIDIA likes to do well before earnings. So I wouldn't be surprised. But look at the growth rate, sales growth rate declining for the last 12 months here. Still great numbers, 36%, 69%. Rising earnings per share, but just be careful. SoFi made that base and then RT greater than 1 and was off like a thief in the night. BE did the same. Yeah. You gotta like that. All right, here's CRS. Approaching our valuation. If the stock can come back just a little bit more, I do have a nice level of support here around 220, 214. That would give us a good value buy here. Sales growth rate just went negative, -5%. Stock's trending down right now, so I would be getting defensive. Here's my first level of support, 238. We're currently on that right now. My next level of support is around 220, 214. So just be careful. Here's Palantir. And I talked about this before. It's going to retest this channel. If it breaks this, goes into the channel, I mean, it could drop, about 150 here is the bottom of the channel. But that was the parabolic move on the breakout. Now we see the stock, just taking a breather after that big move. But forecasted data starting to tick back up, 27%. Sales growth rate has been up for the last 12 months here, along with earnings per share. Nice stock altogether. That's Palantir. Now here's Kratos. I've been talking about this before. As long as price action can stay above this trend line, I'm going to be bullish on this position here. If I connect these little lines here, let's go to 6 month. That's why I've been connecting these lines. Broke out, came back down, retested it along with the 20-day EMA, back up to the races. To me, that's setting up a nice trade setup for the bulls here. If I'm bullish, this is exactly what I want to see. Here's RTX. Look at that value ticking up nicely over the last 6 months. Growth rate, 14%. Sales growth rate. I like this retest on the 20-day EMA. I'm going to see this as a buying opportunity currently. You can see several retests on this 20-day EMA each time, ending up to be a good opportunity. So I think that might come to fruition once again here. Here's DSX. Value on the decline. Price action on the decline. It's a shipping company here. Big upper wick today. Can't get too excited. Negative forecasted data, both on growth rate earnings and sales growth rate. Learning how to create ascending channels and charting is your expertise. I need to learn how to create channels. That is exactly what I do. I am a chart follower, definitely trend lines and channels and things. Channels, you're just looking for connections in consolidation zones. So let's see if this one's got an example here. This might not be the best example. So, channel. Well, no, that didn't work at all. This one's not a good example. If I come across another one and I see, I'll let you know. That's an ascending channel. Wick lines up with value rejected. Yes, I saw that rejection right on our valuation. But look at the transportation. I mean, that's a lot of momentum to the downside. I can't get it. Let's see here. Someone says AS. Let's take a look at AS. All right, this is a channel. This is clearly a channel here. So you go to the bottom. You can see, look, touches, a little touch here, touch at the top. We got 2 touches at the top. This one is channeling here. Amir Sports. It's a leisure company. Now, with these channels, you wait for the breakout, right? You'll wait for the breakout because playing in here, buying and selling is just a guessing game. Who knows if this is going to break out to the upside or the downside, right? So I'm not going to act. I'm not going to, make any, rash decisions. If I'm bullish, the idea would be to try to get at the bottom of this channel, right? If I'm bearish, the idea would be to get it towards the top of this channel, right? So that would give me a little more wiggle room, right? But yeah, this is way overvalued. I'm doing this more for just an example of the channel. But again, channels are a great way to do it, especially ascending channels. Same thing. You're just connecting tops and bottoms. I'll just do AMD because that's displayed a lot of channels. So here's an example here. An ascending channel. And here's a descending channel on AMD. Here's an ascending channel on AMD, right? You see a lot of the price action. It looks like we're breaking right back into that channel here. So just be careful of that. Let's just go into the major indices. What time is it? Oh, yeah. It's time to go. Yeah, they're still flat today. I'm not going to expect, too much excitement in the market here. I know the market's really waiting on, the comments from the Jackson Hole meeting. So I'm not going to be surprised, the market, just takes a breather this week, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, before you forget, next month, September 20th, 21st, we've got our Las Vegas 2-day investment seminar. Come check us out. We got heavy hitters there. Ron Wheeler's going to be there. Steve Chappell is going to be there. It's a 2-day event. If you want details, if you want registration information, just go to VectorVest.com/Vegas. What's the best time frame for channels? Roxar wants to know. Well, typically, the longer the channel, the more built up pressure or tension. Does that make sense, Roxar? Or does that make sense to anyone in the comment section here? But yeah, typically longer the channel, the more pressure being built up, right? So typically if you have a shorter channel and if it gets a breakout, it may not be as strong as you see a nice longer channel, right? Because that's kind of just pent up pressure that needs to be let go, right? Kind of like when you see Bollinger Bands squeeze together, right? The longer and the more severe the squeeze, not, again, no one has a crystal ball, but typically the more explosive a move can come from, right? So just throwing that out there. Today's presentation, we're going to take a look at some NASDAQ stocks. So if you're looking at some stock candidates, there's definitely some good stock candidates on tonight's 6 p.m. video. Check it out. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Enjoy your week and don't let the Mondays get you. All right, take care, everybody. See you soon.